Welcome to the Carl Jackson Show podcast, your daily dose of objective truth in a world of confusion and lies. Have you guys heard about this? The police are investigating a gay Democrat sex video that occurred in the Senate room. Lawyer says that charges could be filed. I'm not sure if you guys heard about this, but I got a feeling if you're listening to this podcast and podcasts or shows like this, you have heard about this. There was a Democratic Senate staffer, a gay staffer. He worked for Senator Ben Cardin of Maryland, and he filmed himself and his partner having anal sex inside of the Senate hearing room. Now, there's lots of questions that need to be addressed, but also what I'm going to do is build the case that this is exactly what the left is doing to us, what the Democrat Party is doing to us. They're screwing us, essentially. So I'm going to be talking about that, as well as getting into the playbook that I see taking shape for 2024 against Republicans from the Democrats. We'll talk about that. But first, just real quick, let me touch on this gay sex tape that was leaked with this Democrat staffer. And one of the things that he said, as a matter of fact, I've got a quote from this guy. After he filmed himself, or had someone film him having anal sex inside of the Senate hearing room, he responded by saying to the allegations in a statement on social media, he said, listen, saying that he has been attacked for who I love, because obviously there's been outrage, like how stupid could you be to do that? And he said he would never disrespect my workplace, and he is exploring what legal options are available to me, is what he said. Now, guys, I want you to understand something, because we look at this video. Well, I don't look at the video, but you know what I'm saying. When you consider this video, right, you might be just thinking of this video as a sex tape, but I really think it's indicative of what the left has created. This guy obviously does not respect his workplace. He obviously does not respect our institutions, as he claims, all right? He said that this was for homophobia. This was as a result of homophobia, and he's exploring legal options. Now, this idiot had the audacity to film himself having gay sex inside of the Senate hearing room. First off, you're telling me there's no other cameras in there? What time of night was he there? Has anything like this happened before? This couldn't have been the first time. Gabe made a good point. He was like, what else happens in that room that voters are unaware of? This was a leaked video, but the only people filming were him and his partner. All right, so this guy plays the victim card right away. This is what I want you to understand about the left. This is what they always do. This is who they are. This video is more than just about sex. It's illustrative of who the left is today. They play the blame game. They go on defense. They don't take responsibility for absolutely anything. And you're responsible when they screw up. You see how this works? We look at this as a video, as a leaked sex video, but I'm telling you, what we're watching is not just a leaked sex video, but we're watching who the left has created. They've created a bunch of social justice warriors with identity politics that are able to flip the political script right away and put the Republican movement on defense rather than going on offense. We need to stay on offense on this issue. I want to know, how the heck did he gain access to that building at that time of day, night, or what have you? Why wasn't anyone else there? Did he pull some strings? Why were there no cameras on anywhere in there except the camera that he used? And this guy is completely narcissistic. These are the types of people that the left has built up. This is their voting base. It's all about me. Homophobic. Homophobic? Because you're stupid enough to film yourself having sex. I'm homophobic because I sit there and say that's stupid? No, this has nothing to do with homophobia, which is a stupid term, by the way. No one fears gay people. All right, I hate to tell you that, but no one fears a gay guy swinging at them. All right, that's just the way it is. So it's a stupid term, but this is what the left does. They're great at language as well. But this has nothing to do with homophobia. This has to do with a lack of accountability and straight up stupidity on this guy's part. Now, he talked about charges being brought, or he's exploring Legal options, well, guys, let me tell you something. He can actually be charged. I'm going to go over that. But first, before I do, I just want to remind you guys that you are listening to the Carl Jackson Show podcast. Please join us and subscribe to my podcast wherever you go to get your podcast. We're on Apple, we're on Google, we're on Spotify, we're on YouTube, we are on Rumble. All right, so please check us out at all of those locations. I'm on all things social media. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Truth Social, Facebook. At the Carl Jackson Show is where you can go. To find me. So please check us out there. Also, today's show is brought to you by My Pillow, guys. In case you have not completed your Christmas shopping as of yet, I just want to inform you or remind you that My Pillow has great deals available right now. My Pillow is excited to bring you their biggest bedding sale ever, and it's just in time for Christmas, or in the nick of time, perhaps, for some of you. So for a limited time, you can get the Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $29.98, a set of pillowcases for only $9.98, and rejuvenate your bed with a My Pillow mattress topper for as low as $99.99. They also have blankets in a variety of sizes, colors, and styles. They even have blankets for your pets. You can get duvets, quilts, down comforters, body pillows, bolster pillows, and so much more, all with the biggest discounts of the year that are happening right now. They're also extending their money-back guarantee for Christmas until March 1st, 2024. So essentially, that is a 90-day instead of a 60-day money-back guarantee, making them the perfect gifts for your friends, your family, and everyone that you know. So go to mypillow.com. Use that promo code Carl, all right? Just go to the radio podcast square, spell my name out, C-A-R-L. I spell it correctly, not with a K. That is C-A-R-L. Or you can give them a call at 800-858-0263. Again, that number, 800-858-0263. You'll get huge discounts on all My Pillow bedding products, including the Giza Dream bed sheets for as low as $29.98. And get all your shopping done now while quantities last. And don't forget, American jobs, American manufacturing, mypillow.com, promo code Carl. All right, now getting back to this issue with this sex tape, and I think it is a huge deal. I think it's a huge deal. And as a matter of fact, I see Gabe has already got the video set up. This is something that Elon Musk said. He went to go visit the Prime Minister of Italy. I'm loving that lady more and more, although I forget her name right now. Her name escapes me. But she is not suffering from the woke mind virus. She spoke up against how Islamists are impacting the culture in Europe or across Europe, and how it is incompatible. I completely agree. That isn't Islamophobia. It is. You have Islamic jihadists that want to take over the West. It really is that simple. That's what they believe. If they don't believe that, it's because they're carnal. So thank God for that if they're carnal, right? Or thank God if they're, what would you call, like maybe baby Islamists? I don't know. What would you call them, Gabe? I mean, if they're not as devout, praise God for it, because those that are devout, they want to make sure that you bow down to Allah. That is their goal. That is their mission. And I do believe that when it comes to the Islamists, their values are incompatible with Western values, and particularly they're incompatible with the United States values, because we have Judeo-Christian values. Obviously, we're fighting for those, to restore those, but we're going to get them back. We're going to keep fighting to get those back. But I want you to hear this audio from Elon Musk over the weekend as he visited visited Italy and attended a conference there. Here's what he had to say. Let's go ahead and roll the video, por favor, Gabe.
Yeah, woke mind virus. Woke mind illness. What's that virus?
Yeah, so
it's coming to Europe. I have to advise you, huh?
Yes, well, this is not something you should import from America. Please don't import the woke mind virus. It's bad. So, essentially, that to summarize maybe the woke mind virus, it consists of creating very, very divisive identity politics. So it actually amplifies, woke mind virus, in my view, amplifies racism, amplifies, frankly, sexism, and all the isms. And while claiming to do the opposite, it actually divides people and makes them sort of hate each other, and it makes people hate themselves.
Okay, so let me tell you why this video is important. this guy that was leaked the video that showed himself literally having gay anal sex in the Senate hearing room on all fours. Guys, listen, the video is pretty graphic. I'm not encouraging you to see it online. Obviously, you can see it online. I posted a column that had the video linked inside of that column. And I'm not asking that you go see it, but the video was inside of the column as I posted it, and so it is there. I believe they've posted a warning label with it now. Thank God the private areas are blurred out at least, but you can very clearly see what's happening. So this guy is on all fours again inside of the Senate hearing room, and it speaks of. Let me tie this in with the woke mind virus. I'm telling you, there's something that the left has done intentionally so that I wish conservatives and constitutionalists would do intentionally so. Unfortunately, we don't take advantage of the institutions in which we control, or once controlled at least. We used to, it seems like, for the most part, many conservative-minded people, constitutionalists attended church. We fought back against the culture. It wasn't our job to be, a Democrat or a Republican per se, but we were to bring salt and light to a culture. We don't always do that, unfortunately, and I think we've in large part stayed out of culture wars, and as a result of that, we're actually seeing more people, I think, go to hell as a result of weak Christians. I hate to say that, but I think that's true. And I believe that is the way that we need to look at some of these issues. But take the left, on the other hand. This guy suffers from woke mind virus. Again, let me just remind you again. He leaks a video of himself having gay anal sex with his partner up on all fours, two behind grown men. And then when the video is leaked, because it was on some type of, it was initially found on some type of gay website, it was uploaded there. So either someone hacked him or he or his partner put it there. His face is turned in the video so you can see who he was. It was Daily Caller, by the way, that initially identified the guy as being a staffer for Senator Ben Cardin. Senator Ben Cardin has since released him, and he said, and I quote, "We will have no further comment on this personal matter." Ben Cardin, who once thought that the Senate was a sacred institution, or the Senate building, Senate facility, apparently it's not anymore. He doesn't want to comment on it. Here's what else the guy. His first name is Aiden. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. It sounds like a Russian or Ukrainian last name, very difficult. Czeropski. But he released a statement on his LinkedIn. He said, "This has been a difficult time for me as I've been attacked for who I love to pursue a political agenda." No, idiot. You were just identified. You're a Democrat staffer. You have a very important job, and they identified you. But this goes back to what's happening with the left and what they're trained to do. Right from the beginning, the left, I don't know why I didn't push this earlier, but right from the beginning, the left are trained. And I don't even know that this guy knows what he's doing. I really don't. But it goes to show just how effective the left has been. Right away, they don't take responsibility. They don't go on defense. They go on offense. And even someone that's caught up in this scandal knows how to do that, knows those tactics. He says, "While some of my actions in the past have shown poor judgment, I love my job and would never disrespect my workplace." What a dumb statement, since you seriously disrespected your workplace. He says, "Any attempts to characterize my actions otherwise are fabricated. And again, I will be exploring legal options that are available to me in these matters." So not only am I going to play the victim card, and not only is this all about me, it's all about me. And this is what the left wants you to do too. Narcissism, we look at that narcissism and we're like, oh my God, what a horrible human attribute. Well, that is a tactic of the left. That's why they embrace, that's why they perpetuate identity politics. It's all about me. You can't see anything else. So if you can make people fully focused on their gayness, on trans issue, whatever their issue is that keeps them divided amongst or just united in one type of people group within the United States of America, instead of embracing themselves as an American, then the left wins, and the left knows that, and they were very successful with this guy. So narcissism is a part of their toolbox, the left's toolbox. Now, here are the charges that can actually be brought against him. This according to Jonathan Turley. He's a professor at George Washington University. You see him all the time on Fox News as well. He's an analyst for them. He's a lawyer. He said that there were various charges that could be brought forward in the case under the D.C. code, including Section 22-1312 for lewd, indecent, or obscene acts. He says that it is unlawful for a person in public to make an obscene or indecent exposure of his or her genitalia or anus, to engage in masturbation. And obviously this is strong language, but this is what it is. This is the law at this point. Or to engage in a sexual act as defined in subsection 22-3001. 8. The statute says it is unlawful for a person to make an obscene or indecent sexual proposal to a minor. A person who violates any provision of this section shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and, upon conviction, shall be fined not more than the amount set forth in subsection 22-35, 71.01, in prison for not more than 90 days or both. Turley also argued other charges that could be brought forward include Section 1361, which protects, quote, any property of the United States from willful depredation or attempted depredation. And can you imagine? I mean, it wasn't even protected sex. I'm not trying to be gross, but good Lord. All right. So a lot of Lysol and, some Sandy wipes needed. All right. 18 U.S. Section Code 641 on the misuse of public money, property, or records, and 18 U.S. Section Code 1752, which defines trespassing as anyone who, quote, knowingly enters or remains in any restricted building or grounds without lawful authority to do so. Did someone let them in? Did someone else know about it? Did someone turn a blind eye? Capitol Police? I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Because it doesn't make sense that this guy would feel so emboldened that he could walk inside of the U.S. Senate hearing building and perform this sexual act. It doesn't make sense to me. But again, this is part and parcel of who the left is. They don't respect our institutions. They don't respect our buildings. When they get caught, when they screw up, they turn it on you and they go on offense. No, this is homophobia. No, it's not homophobia. Now, all right, let me segue here, because there are a lot of things that happened over the weekend, and I want to get to them relatively quickly. I want to bring you some news, and then, Gabe, if you could get that next video going of the Democrat mayor in Boston. All right, so this is a very important point, and I'm going to tie them all together because the left is showing us their playbook for 2024. They have nothing to run on. I'm going to be on the Officer Tatum show tonight, so I hope that you'll be able to tune in. I'll be talking in part about, I hope to get to what's happening in the housing market. Homelessness is just skyrocketing right now under Bidenomics. And there's so much more that I'm going to be talking about. But I want to talk to you specifically right now about the playbook that I see the left gearing up to use. Now, this lady, Michelle Wu, she is the mayor of Boston, and she got herself into some trouble last week because she had separate Christmas parties, or they called them holiday parties, for their government employees, taxpayer-funded segregation, if you will. So she had some for the people of color, and she even posted pictures where it was just her white husband wasn't even allowed to attend this one. And then in this particular dinner, they had Spanish people, they had black people, they had what looked like a lesbian chick that was manly sitting at the front of the table, where the picture sitting at the front of the table anyway. In the picture, I saw that particular picture. I'm not sure if there are other videos or pictures that have emerged with the pure white staff, but man, talk about segregation. The left is bringing segregation back, but all of this is about the woke mindset, the woke mind virus that Elon Musk talks about. And this is why I don't believe, I don't even know how to frame this properly, but I definitely need to work on it because I don't think it's enough. If you're not going to totally dismantle the DOJ, FBI, that's why I say it's not enough, in my opinion, to just focus on what's going to happen in the federal government if you don't fight the culture war. Because all we're doing is raising up, or all the left is doing, is raising up woke people like this guy Aiden, who is stupid enough. How stupid can you be? Seriously, to film yourself. Talk about a lack of judgment. To film yourself having sex, for one. That's one thing. All right. And then if the video is, leaked, I mean, it was put on a site. Some type of gay website. So did he upload it there? I mean, how stupid can you be, too, for doing that? And then in the Senate hearing room? I mean, this stuff doesn't make sense. Except it does. This is what the left does. So Michelle Wu, a racist that is literally perpetuating segregation inside of Boston now, came out and said this after she was busted and the news was reported that she was segregating people. But I want you to understand, this is a glimpse of what's going to happen in 2024. I'm also going to bring you a story about Rudy Giuliani. You didn't hear what happened with Rudy Giuliani last week. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about it because it's connected to this story, as well as Steve Baker from The Blaze. He's a J6 reporter that's been disseminating fact from fiction. And I spoke about it briefly last week on the podcast. I'm going to speak about it again today, just to tie up some loose ends and to tie it in to what's happening here. But I want you to listen to this video of the Boston mayor, Michelle Wu. Again, in context, she's been busted for segregating government employees, having a white holiday party. Won't call it Christmas. I know holiday stands for holy day, but let's be real. They try not to say Christmas party. All right, so having a white Christmas party and a colored, I hate saying colored, all right, minority Christmas party. So instead of accepting responsibility for her own racism, listen to what Boston Mayor Michelle Wu had to say this weekend. Go ahead and roll it, por favor, Gabe.
Across the Boston Police Department, the Transit Police, the State Police, the FBI, and all of our partners in law enforcement and public safety, there's constant communication about the impending actions of any known groups. We continue to monitor the situation and to work closely with community members. Most of all, we want to ensure that community members are empowered in communicating anything that you may see or hear or read about on social media to please err on the side of reaching out to local public safety officials so that we can have the most information at hand. And we will continue to work in partnership with community members as we strategize and plan and coordinate to respond to not one-off incidents, but this growing rise and trend in white supremacy and hate.
There's only one type of hate apparently in America. It's white supremacy, even though I don't know of anyone that's been attacked by a KKK member, which were Democrat, by the way. I mean, this is absolute insanity. So the goal is, or the tactic is, or the strategy, again, don't admit your own guilt. Don't you are not going to be held accountable for your own wrongdoings. The left is never going to be held responsible. What they're going to do is go on the offense, and that's exactly what they're doing. Now, they have nothing to run on, so I want you to notice what's happening here. It's going to be identity politics. It's going to be J6. It's going to be white supremacy. It's going to be identity politics. They're going to run this puppy home all the way through 2024 election, whether it's Joe Biden, which increasingly I'll bring you a story just shortly here where it might not be Joe Biden. All right. And I've said this all along, although the more we got into war type footing, it seemed to me, I was like, ooh, they're going to hold on to Joe Biden. But his polling is so bad. We've had Houthi rebels that have attacked some of our vessels in cargo ships that are Israel affiliated, as well as our own. When it comes to our own and our soldiers, we've been attacked since October 7th, literally over 100 times, and the Biden administration has not reacted once. Oh yeah, and by the way, you guys may have seen over the weekend the video that this is totally unrelated to what's happening in the Middle East, but there was a car crash involving the what do you call that, Gabe? The president's entourage, if you will. There was a car crash, and thank God everybody was safe. It was a rainy night, and apparently the guy lost control of his car, but Secret Service confronted him right away. They got Biden inside of a vehicle right away. And regardless of who the president is, you want the president of the United States to be safe. All right, so they were able to get, and Biden moved so slow. I mean, like, if somebody wanted, I'm just saying, he moved so slow, and frankly, I didn't think the Secret Service's reaction was that great either to hearing that crash. I think they should have moved much faster than they did, but nonetheless, everyone appears to be safe in that situation. But if I'm that guy that hit his entourage, I would have been crapping bricks. I'm not even going to lie. So there's video out there. Actually, you can see it on my Twitter account or my X account, as it's called now. The Carl Jackson Show is where you can check that out. All right, let me bring you some quick news, some quick headlines here, and then I'm just going to break down a few more stories, including Steve Baker, what former Barack Obama said, and what they're doing to Mayor Rudy Giuliani, because this all ties into the left's playbook ahead of 2024. Here's a headline that you may not have heard about. Nearly half of young Americans support Hamas over Israel. So that's scary. Roughly, this according to National Review, roughly half of young Americans say Israel should be, quote, ended and given to Hamas and the Palestinians, close quote. They literally have no clue. These people are clueless. I mean, there's obviously no real civics lessons going on. There's no teaching of what a terrorist is. They don't understand that Hamas is a terrorist organization, but it is what it is. So amid the ongoing war, despite continuing support for the Jewish state among older Americans, while 51% of 18 to 24-year-olds in the U.S. want Israel to lose to Hamas, that sentiment decreases significantly among the higher age brackets in the monthly Harvard CAPS Harris poll. 31% of 25 to 34-year-olds, 24% of 35 to 44-year-olds, 15% of 45 to 50-year-olds, 13% of 55 to 64-year-olds. All right, so the older you are as an American, obviously you have the context of history, and you're more learned and understanding, and you have a better understanding of what's happening in the Middle East. And so the good news is overall 81% of Americans support Israel over Hamas. The bad news is all of the older people are going to die sooner, and you're going to have a bunch of young people that are absolutely being taught to hate Israel, likely running the country and our institutions. And it won't be a great day for Jews when that day comes to fruition. All right, U.S.-UK warships shoot down 15 terrorist attack drones in the Red Sea. So this, according to the AP, a U.S. warship shot down 14 suspected attack drones over the Red Sea on Saturday alone. And a Royal Navy destroyer downed another drone that was targeting commercial ships. The British and American militaries both said or confirmed Houthi rebels in Yemen have launched a series of attacks on vessels in the Red Sea, one of the world's busiest shipping routes, by the way, and have launched drones and missiles targeting Israel as the Israel-Hamas war threatens to spread. U.S. Central Command said that the destroyer USS Carney successfully engaged 14 unmanned aerial systems launched from Houthi-controlled areas of Yemen. So they're coming after us, too, in other words. And we have nothing to say or nothing to do. Guys, I don't want us to be spread everywhere. I really think that is the goal of some of these dictators around the world, to spread America thin. We're sitting there, in Russia, Ukraine. Obviously, China. China is a threat. You see the Israel-Hamas war. We're extending the help that we can there. And frankly, all we have to do there is, I don't even think Israel needs money per se. They just need to be completely unleashed. When they need our support, they need the United States of America to just say, listen, Israel is Israel. They're a sovereign nation. They can defend their nation the way they see fit. We're out. But because so much of the Democratic base are pro-Hamas, right? And the more vocal and active supporters are pro-Hamas within the Democrat base, well, the Democrats want Israel to lose a war to Hamas. That's essentially what's happening. Lloyd Austin flew out there this weekend, to try to convince them to calm down. They want Israel to be losers like we are under their administration. That's essentially it. LA DA Gascon promotes anti-police radical to chief of staff of the DA office. So there's a woke social justice warrior by the name of Tiffany Blacknell that was she's been promoted to his chief of staff. She called for the abolishing of prisons, defunding the police, and now she's got a promotion. Now she's got a promotion in the DA's office. You're screwed in LA. It's as simple as that. 10 IEDs discovered along southern border by Mexican authorities. Oh man, okay, I gotta hurry up on this. And then just the last thing, major law firms pulls out of campus recruiting events citing President Gay's anti-Semitic testimony. Claudine Gay, obviously the plagiarist of Harvard, not the president. I'm calling her the plagiarist of Harvard. She was unwilling to denounce the calls for genocide happening on her campus at that congressional hearing. So more and more people are backing away from her. Unfortunately, her job was saved. You had at least, I think, 700 staff members that fought for, that wanted her to remain as president. That is a really bad idea, because now all you're doing is saying we accept cheating and we accept mediocrity over merit and excellence. All right, now let me just bring you this to close out. I know I'm going through a lot here. So you've experienced Jackson's 5. You've had the isolated story of the gay Democrat that was caught having anal sex, and then when caught blamed others. But again, I'm telling you, there's more to that story besides just how the hell was he able to pull that off without anyone finding out until a video was leaked inside of what should be a secure building 24/7, in my opinion. But also, it goes to show you who the left is and who they're creating. They're creating a bunch of narcissistic social justice warriors who immediately, when they're attacked for wrongdoing, they know how to go on offense. That's what you witness. I should have summed it up a little better, but as you get rolling and get to think through it. Okay, just some headlines, and I'll go through them real quick. Jury orders Rudy Giuliani to pay $148 million to election workers that he defamed. A Washington, D.C. jury ordered former Trump attorney Rudy Giuliani to pay $150 million in damages to Georgia election workers for defaming them following the 2020 presidential election. Now, this is absurd. This is crazy. Rudy Giuliani said as much, and I think anyone that has a modicum of common sense knows that this is an insane amount, and I think it was an insane case. However, I will say Mayor Giuliani erred on the side of naming these people. He should have never named them. You should know that when you name somebody, and he's smarter than that, when you name somebody, they're going to come after you. They can come after you unless they end up being convicted of a crime. But honestly, you have the woke mob going after these people, both in D.C. and Fulton County area, Atlanta area. So they're going to. This is the playbook for 2024. This is the playbook. Okay, so you're getting Trump on trial, right? J6 insurrection, white supremacists. Michelle Wu is they're telling you what their playbook is. They have nothing else to run on. They're except, okay, you can kill babies, but beyond that, Democrats or Republicans are racist, white supremacists, insurrectionists. They're telling you exactly what they're going to do. And what they're doing is building their campaign by trying to lock people up. I want you to understand that. Hear me clearly. The left is building their 2024 campaign by trying to lock Republicans up, because they want to make the case that it isn't us that are the criminals, it's the Republican Party. So they're attacking Rudy Giuliani. They're attacking former President Donald Trump. Again, Rudy Giuliani, $16,171,000 to Ruby Freeman for defamation, $16,998 to her daughter Shay Moss for defamation, $20 million to Freeman for emotional distress, $20 million to Moss for emotional distress, $75 million in punitive damage to both of the plaintiffs. Is Rudy Giuliani even worth 1/10 that? I'm not sure that he is, and he is going to appeal this. He said outside of the courtroom that I don't regret a damn thing, quote unquote. Unlied, he called the ruling absurd, close quote, quote unquote, and said that he was going to appeal, and as well he should, because it's absolute chaos. but I just told you what the left is trying to do. Now, getting back to the story with Steve Baker from The Blaze. Here's from The Blaze, just a quick summary. The government's weaponization of law against its political enemies has gone on for too long. With the prosecution of a Blaze media journalist, the Justice Department has crossed a line. Enough, the Blaze media says. Steve Baker has been living under the cloud for 2 years. For 2 years, Baker, an investigative reporter and contributor to Blaze Media, has had to live and work not knowing whether he would wake up one morning to the sound of a heavily armed FBI SWAT team. All right. Why? For 2 years, Baker has been reporting on J6. Fact or fiction. And he's been very effective. So now they want to go after Baker. And they are. As a matter of fact, he's supposed to turn himself in tomorrow. The article goes on. On Thursday, Baker heard from his attorney. That's Thursday last week. The news he'd been expecting but hoping would never come. The DOJ intends to press charges. He will be allowed to turn himself in to the authorities in his home state of North Carolina on Tuesday morning with no SWAT required. Baker doesn't know what exactly he's been charged with. The FBI agent who gave Baker's attorney the terrible news pleaded ignorance and said he wouldn't know for sure until a judge signed the official warrant for Baker's arrest. It's a perfect administrative state mystery. Franz Kafka couldn't have written it any better. This is from The Blaze, they write, but it all happens. It happens all the time. Steve has detailed his legal saga so far. The Blaze published it in October. They posted part 1 and part 2, how gravely serious the prosecution will be. They say what we see with the government's decision to prosecute Baker is an escalation in its weaponization of the law against its perceived political enemies. This guy's a reporter. I don't believe it's a coincidence that Baker learned of his coming indictment the very same day he met with a pair of Capitol Police whistleblowers. You guys see what's happening? This is the playbook for 2024. See, we're going to talk about the economy, and we should, because a lot of people are hurting for the economy, and hopefully more people will look at what's happening and say, wait a minute, this is all crazy. But the left is going to play a moral game. They're going to say, we can't reelect or put these white supremacists, these insurrectionists back in power. That's the playbook. Now, last story. Daily Mail. Barack Obama thinks Joe Biden could lose the White House next year. With president's polls continuing to tank, his worries over his age and cost of living crisis persist. So a person familiar with the former president's thinking told the Wall Street Journal about the former president's concerns. Obama worries that the 2024 election could be won by Republicans and is troubled by the prospect of a second Donald Trump term. Biden is 81, insists that he is the best person to take on Trump, and is hoping that improving economic data, abortion, and infrastructure will help him win. Now, anyone could throw a wrench in the game. So if, let's say, DeSantis were, I know it's a long shot, but if DeSantis were to win the nomination, Democrats would be in a world of hurt, because what they're banking on and hoping on is Donald Trump for president. But Barack Obama is worried because the polling that they're seeing, saying that despite Trump being the nominee and all of his legal woes and so on, etc., regardless, I know it's a persecution, it's a persecution, but it doesn't matter to the left. And quite frankly, it's sad, but it's a true state of affairs. It's you and I that understand what's really going on. Most voters are still oblivious to what's happening with this Donald Trump case. All they hear or all they see are some headlines, and they assume Trump is guilty or he'll be found guilty or proven innocent, and they don't follow it. They don't follow it much. But Trump leads by 2 points in the Real Clear Politics polling average, which concerns Democrats. Frankly, I don't know why, because I've been looking at these polls, and the polls are a complete and utter joke, but it doesn't matter. That's the sentiment. When people see that, perception is reality. So Democrats are looking at those polls, and they are absolutely terrified. Obama knows this is going to be a close race, and I want you to understand that, because this is one of the things that I really hate about the polls games, because we look at the polls where Trump is ahead 40 or 50 points, and quite frankly, I look at the number of people being polled, and sometimes it's 400, 500 people, and I'm like, are you kidding me? But this is what we're banking on, because polling is so much harder to do. And that isn't to say that Trump isn't in the lead. Obviously, the guy's got name recognition like nobody's business. I don't know that there's anyone that exists in the world except somewhere in the jungle that doesn't know who Donald Trump is. So obviously, obviously he's in the lead by 40 or 50 points. I simply don't believe it, because I look at how the polling is conducted right now, and I'm like, along with what I saw in 2022 and 2023, and I just think a lot of these polls are bogus. And I don't like touting them, because I don't want Republicans to get lazy. And frankly, I don't want a clear walk into the presidency. I think that even Trump should have to answer to the post-pandemic Trump. I think that's very important, because I believe that we, the people, are in charge, and we deserve answers no matter who the nominee is for that. Now, having said that, the left is still completely worried, because everything they've done to try to ding Donald Trump apparently hasn't helped in the polls. And so they're terrified. And so they're thinking, do we need to go to plan B? I think Barack Obama thinking this out loud and sharing this information is another way of saying, hey, we may need to get rid of this fool. I really do believe that. Anyway, guys, I'll dive into this a little deeper tonight on the Officer Tatum Show. I hope you'll join me then. I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. All right, I know I brought a lot to you in a very short period of time. Some of this stuff I'm sure I'll expound on as the week goes on. But until then, I appreciate you tuning in. Please subscribe again to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast. And would you guys please consider sharing the podcast? I would really appreciate that. We're trying to build momentum here. We need your help. All right. The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find me. Subscribe, review it, give us a 5. That'll help us move up the charts. More people will see the podcast. We certainly appreciate that. Subscribe to our YouTube and Rumble channel. All right. And if you prefer Rumble, subscribe there, because it is a free speech platform. But we'd love to see you on YouTube if you're already there. The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find us. Twitter, Instagram, or X now, formerly known as Twitter, The Carl Jackson Show. And don't forget, Christmas is coming up on us fast, just 1 week away. Make sure you take advantage of the deals at mypillow.com, promo code Carl. Guys, until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.